A while ago we showed you our 4 metre high bloody butcher corn in our home garden, and we harvested the corn and you saw that, and then we selected all the best cobs to save for mother seed for the next generation and for the institute. And so once we selected the best cobs, we go through the cobs, all the cobs that we're saving for seed, and we cut both ends off each cob so that the kernels on each end, which are actually different to the kernels in the middle, and they don't grow as strong as plants, become chook food. And then once we've done that, we put the corn through the corn shucker, which takes all the kernels off the cobs, spits the cobs out the side. It's an old classic old-fashioned corn shucker that every farm in New Zealand, pretty much every farm in New Zealand, everyone who had pigs, everyone who milked cows, all the small dairy farms in New Zealand that milked cows and sent the cream cans off to the local butter factory, and then they fed the skim milk to the pigs, and they almost always grew corn and shucked it with one of these. So they were a really common and important piece of the technology on small farms in New Zealand, well, 100 years ago, probably even 80 years ago, possibly 60, but certainly not in the last 60 years have they been common. So then we end up with a big pile of corn on the ground, which we store in buckets with a little bit of diatomaceous earth so that no bugs get in there and eat it. And we end up with a whole lot of corn cobs left, which becomes amazing material for the biochar burner. So that will all be turned into biochar. And over here we've got our grinders. We've got two one's a grist mill, a corn mill. For the one on the left is the red one, which is what we use to break the corn, crack the corn into, you know, maybe half a dozen pieces or maybe 10. And then the little corn grinder we use to grind that corn into corn flour. But before we do this, we nixtamalize it. Remember, we talked about that earlier. And we have, so you can see in here, the corn has been cooked. The corn has been cooked with a lye solution. It nixtamalizes it, and it completely changes the nutritional profile of it. All indigenous people in Central America nixtamalized their corn before they ate it because they understood that they would end up with nutritional deficiencies if they didn't. There's something like 60 times more available calcium in nixtamalized corn than in corn that hasn't been nixtamalized, and it forms a complete protein, and there are other changes. So once it's been nixtamalized and then dried in the solar dryer, it then comes here and we store it in a bucket, and then we grind it as we need it to make tortillas. Here we've got some different corns make different coloured flour. It's hard to get a picture. This is the bloody butcher corn, which kind of looks a bit browny bluey there, and when it's cooked, the tortillas are pretty much a little bit bluey, a little bit blue when they're cooked as well.